Okay, we're going to look at the evaporator unit of the air conditioning section. First thing you got to look at is always make sure you have your trap. Today they put some insulation on the trap. You need two vents. The first one should be capped, so this one doesn't have a cap. It requires a cap. The second one is a vent pipe that will take the vent to give air for the water to flow. Otherwise, there's a possibility the water can be pulled out of the trap from the condensate line. You do have an emergency overflow. In a crawl space, it requires to be a switch, a float switch that will turn the unit off. Up in the attic area, sometimes you just see a pipe. It needs to have a trap on it. Otherwise, it tends to blow cold air into the attic. Same with a condensate line. That's why it's kept, because it'll just blow cold air into the attic area, which is a waste of the unit. Always look where the unit joins the furnace. That needs to be properly sealed. Run your hand all the way down it. If you feel cold air blowing there, they need to seal that correctly. The same with where the unit attaches to the ducting. There you'll see it's taped. Make sure you put your hand all the way around the tape to make sure there's no cold air blowing out. Your Freon and gas lines coming into the unit, make sure they also corked around. Feel there. Condensate line, emergency overflow line, feel around there as well that there's no cold air blowing out. Look in the pan underneath the unit. If you notice any rust, straight away put that in your summary, because there's a possibility of a leak. I've had an inspection where the pan was literally overflowing. If that's the case, don't just write it in the report. Get hold of the seller's agent immediately. Tell them a situation to get it done. Certain things you phone the seller's agent immediately. That's if it's a dangerous electrical situation, problem with a HVAC, or a gas situation. Please do not just tell the buyer's agent, because they don't always relay the message, so make sure you do that. Also, I take a picture of the data plate. You can go on Google to find out the age. Sometimes the age is written on it. Please do put a limitation that your assumption is that the unit is a 2022 unit. Do not say the unit is a 2022, because now you own it, because you said it is a 22 and they find out it's a 2002 and something goes wrong with the unit, they're going to say you told them it was a 22. So please make sure your verbiage in your reports are correct. You are there to observe and give information, but please make sure that my information is correct. Get a licensed contractor to make sure that my estimate of the unit is correct. We have a gas furnace over here. Always look around it to make sure it's secure. Look for an overflow switch, which is down here, which will be connected to the pan. Look at your line for the gas coming in, that it's secure. You always have to have the drip leg, which is over here. This takes the moisture out of the gas line, and then a regulating valve. Some of the units you have to open with a screwdriver, or there's bolts. That's why I use this particular screwdriver, because you can change it. You also get, some of them have those plastic little screws. Make sure you got a couple of extra ones. It's nothing worse than dropping it and you got hardly any space to work and it falls down. If you can't investigate all areas of the unit, please write that up in your limitations, because you want to make sure that you want to tell your client if you couldn't inspect something. If you can't find or open the unit, please tell the client that as well. They want to be informed how much you've done. When you look on the inside of the unit, I always get my flashlight. You go on interior, you look at all the wire connectors, that they're connected at the same place. Often you will find they've taken the two wires and just joined them, and they're not connected to a particular sensor. This particular unit, you don't have it, but when you have the bigger units, you got 2 panels that comes off. One has a trip switch that when you open it, the fan of the unit will shut down. I often seen it taped. A lot of guys do write it up. I basically take the tape off to make sure the switch works and then put it back, because some guys do that for easier maintenance work. Always look on the burners before you burn the unit. Make sure there's no rust. Make sure, especially if you have a vertical unit with the evaporator on the top, that there's no rust lines going into it. Sometimes there's a problem with the condensate line and the water runs down into the furnace. You will find the furnaces last longer than evaporator units, so it's not unusual to have a 2010 furnace and a 2024 evaporator. Again, there's a data plate in the furnace. Sometimes you can't get to it. You will see a date on the casing. So some of the newer units, when you can't find a data, take a picture of the data plate, say the casing of the unit is a 2025. We assume that the furnace is the same age. Again, assume, do not say the casing's a 2025, the unit is a 225, because you don't know if they just put a new casing on it. So you have a look at all of those, make sure there's no rust, look underneath the pan, make sure the electrical wiring is secure. This one's loose. If you know what you're doing, you can just tighten it. This one has filter on it. Sometimes they got UV lights on it. Make sure the control box is attached. You'll notice on the top, sometimes the control box is attached on the side. This one has been glued down correctly, so some of them often just leave them loose. And if the cover is off, make sure that you mention the cover must be put back on it. Like I said, some guys will take a probe and just stick it into the ducting over here. Make sure it's on the outgoing and not in your intake for the unit to get the differential. They'll take a temperature on the ducting coming in and the ducting going out to get the differential, how your air conditioner or furnace is working. I'm going to turn this furnace on now so we can have a look at how she's burning. Before you turn the unit on, the most important thing you want to do, make sure you use your gas detector to go around the fixture and the area here. And if you smell gas, do not turn it on. I went to an inspection once where the unit was replaced. It was a brand new unit, and whoever installed it, and it was in summer, the connector wasn't done. I could turn the connector with my hand. If I turned the furnace on at that particular period, I would have got badly injured, even burnt the house down. So please test to see if there's any gas or smell for it. Please do not test your gas furnace if the temperature outside is over 70, the same for an electrical furnace. Make sure when the flames come on, you'll see the fan will come on, there'll be a glow, and then there'll be a nice blue flame coming out. If the flame is orange or red or any discolorant and not blue, write it up. I always recommend speak to HVAC guys when you bump into them on a construction site, or if you're going to an inspection and someone's having the unit serviced. You will learn a lot from those guys. Ask them questions, they're always willing to help you. When you're finished with the unit, make sure you close everything. Also, when you test your HVAC systems, I always take a picture of when I come in the home, and if it's set at 21, if it's 74 degrees, and you test the air conditioning, you drop it to 70 or 69 to get your differential. Before you leave, make sure, go to the kitchen, make sure your oven's switched off, go to your thermostats, make sure they're back on the same temperature the home was in. You will get furious homeowners phoning you if they walk in their house and it's at 68 in the middle of summer, or it's on 79 in the middle of winter. So make sure you get those done. And also look at your flue that it comes up. Make sure there's no rust around it. Make sure the joints are correctly in. Look that there is a good stable bracket holding it going out through the roof. And also look around where it goes, that there's no water stains or a lot of sunlight coming in from where the flue goes out in case there's a leak. Another thing to look at is to see if there's water drops underneath the flue. That's an indication of water coming down, or it could be that there's bad ventilation in the roof and it's condensation coming down the flue of the furnace.